This episode of the Turf District podcast is brought to you by the Edmonton Community Foundation. The foundation acts as a bridge between donors and charities to create a strong, vibrant community for generations to come. You can start an endowment fund yourself or with a group, and once it reaches $10,000, it can start distributing funds. Vital Signs is an annual checkup conducted by the Edmonton Community Foundation in partnership with Edmonton Social Planning Council to measure how the community is doing. This year's focus is on millennials, and you can learn more at ecfoundation.org. That's ecfoundation.org. Enjoy the show.
Hey, fellas, we ain't gonna ever back down from nobody. I don't care who it is. This is a brotherhood. And if we stand strong together, we can't be denied. If one of us goes down, we have another, and another, and another that's ready to fight. So let's hit this field and bang them, bang them, bang them. Somebody, light me up.
It's time to huddle up. It's the Turf District podcast. Welcome back to the Turf District, where we huddle up to talk all things Edmonton Elks and the CFL. We are a proud member of the Alberta Podcast Network, locally grown, community supported, and we are also a part of the Canadian Football Podcast Network. I'm Andrew, and we're very happy to have you back with us this evening. And I say us, but I basically mean me and our guest, which is fantastic. It's a last minute, Thanksgiving things. This is what happens. But when you reach out to a friend, sometimes the amazing happens, and your friend says, yes, I'm actually available, and I would love to come talk to you. And so tonight, we are joined by the one and only Travis Cura. How are you? Yes, happy Thanksgiving to you, man. Thank you for doing this. This is awesome. Are you, how is the turkey situation? Are you going to make it through the talking, or are you going to doze off, or where are things at? Okay. Wow. Well, nice.
That was our Thanksgiving, so.
Now here,
but it's just the way we wanted it.
Okay, that's awesome. Now, you know what's really funny is this is I usually, because Mike is here, all of your voice would come through his Skype, but because he's not here, nobody heard what you just said, other than event Thanksgiving was exactly the way you wanted it. So we could see the joys of recording live. I tell you, Travis.
Could they see me? Do I have to do
Yes,
this
they
again?
could see you, absolutely.
Okay.
But there we go. Now we've got some sound going. And I'm so glad that I had the comments open so I could see that and get this tagged up. And again, usually Mike's job, but it's great. We've figured out a way. I will reiterate that you were saying that you were only having coffee and no funny stuff. I don't know if I believe that, but just coffee and cream.
Even my pants comment didn't make it.
Oh.
Oh, wait, it is now. So just hope my phone doesn't tilt over here, okay?
Exactly.
I'm not a TV guy. Look, I'm just hair and a forehead. That's all I am.
Oh, this is why we had you on. It's outstanding. It's outstanding. They said there was no sound, but Joe says, unfortunately, we can see you. That's nice, Joe. Thanks a lot. But Jerry says Travis is funny even when you can't hear him, because we all know your laugh, which is amazing. That's what we look for.
normally with 2 and out, I gotta wait, 15 hours to hear from Balaneski. It's really weird to hear from him in real time. I don't know if I'm gonna like it,
Well,
but we'll see.
I'll keep the comments to a minimum from what I can do. Yeah, exactly. It sounds like you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. I did as well. I spent most of yesterday calling the Pee Wee and Bantam games for the Chargers. Ta-da! Let me tell you, when you're up in a scissor lift and it's raining and it's windy, not as the funnest way to call a game. And funnest is a word that I'm just making up, but still, it's still fun to call the games. Like I enjoy doing that, and it's you get to have your little spin on it and all those types of things. And you spend so many years listening to Al Stafford, you're like, I got to be reasonable at this, and so so that was fun. Yeah, it was very good. And today I was putting up stuff in the room, so getting some new stuff up. So we're getting ready. I know. I try to be fit. I mean, I know this is like only half. Like I need a camera that like scrolls, like it goes back and forth, so you can see the logo on the wall and you can see the Hulk and all these exciting things. But anyway, this is it's getting there. It's getting there. As I got to put up my Franklin made design today, which was the 55-yard. Yeah, diversity is strength, and I just. Man, I tell you, that it just makes it look so good in here. I love it. It's great. Ooh. I see you have a plant, so you're really living up to the Saskatchewan. That's, it's, I was gonna say something about that's your new legal stash, but I guess it's not that either. All right. Yeah, over your shoulder. There you go. Yes, that one. Yes. Okay. 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 Ex- oh, it is. Wow. That's amazing. You went for authenticity there. Oh, it's amazing. Oh my goodness. There's going to be lots of giggles in this show, I can just tell. All right. Let me just make sure here. No, it keeps saying that yours. Hang on. Let me fix this here. This should be good. We should have your audio going here, but I'm going to make sure that we fix it. There we go. Okay, so we should be good to have your audio running there. I'm pretty sure. You better start talking, and somebody will tell me if it's not working again. So.
Check 1 2. Check 1 2.
Oh yeah, look at that. There's nothing coming through. Why is that not going? Guest to Skype right there. Ta-da! Okay, we should be okay, I think. I know. Well, we'll see if we hear any other things. Then we'll have to figure it out. This might be just a live version. We'll see how that plays out.
You're gonna sound really crazy,
aren't I? It's just gonna be me talking to myself. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Excellent. Well, I want to touch on this a little bit. I know you guys were talking about it on your show, and now we're getting back to. I don't want to get too far into this, but I want to talk a little bit about all the recent comments, things that are going around, especially with Eddie Steele, who of course is a friend of the show, and we've had him on before. We will have him on again, and of course he was let go from Ched earlier this week. And I don't want to sit here and say, okay, well, it's this person or this pointing fingers. Not really my jam. But what I will say though is that the team itself, I'm just disappointed. I guess. I think as fans, we're disappointed with the play on the field. But we're disappointed in the fact that it just seems that if you've been a fan of this team, you're used to them doing the right thing, and we're having a hard time with that right now. We're seeing a lot of things that we're continually having to defend the team. And when you're always defending something, it becomes tiring, and then you start to ask those questions like why is it that I'm constantly having to defend something instead of just enjoy it. And so I think the fan base as a whole is frustrated. I think Eddie as well, who has a lot of passion for this team, this is the way that he expressed it. And but I think it really is, there's just that frustration of where did we come from, right? And it doesn't seem like we're there now. And I know you guys kind of talked about that a bit on 2 and Out as well.
I think it's just, and I did say it on the show, the fact that it's a community-owned team, and the Edmonton fan base is a very smart fan base, but it's the off-field stuff, I think, affecting the on-field stuff. When everybody around the league saw the Elks roster on paper, we all kind of thought it was going to be an explosive offense.
Absolutely.
The defense would be good, and this would be a Grey Cup contender.
Yeah.
I had them losing in the Grey Cup to the Hamilton Tiger Cats, and both of those look like idiotic statements, but that was in July.
Exactly. That's what we're supposed to make it. Actually, I don't know if you listen to my show regularly. I regularly make idiotic statements, so that's about right. Yeah, it just fits in.
Me too. Yeah. But I don't think it's possible that a roster of veterans like Edmonton has can just all of a sudden get old or whatever the problem is. Do you know what I mean? A player makes it to the certain stage of their career and the performance drops off. You just can't tell me that Ellingson, Walker, Harris, all these guys at the same time just had their play dropped off. Because it'd be one thing if the team was, competitive, still involved in the community, making these great decisions, but once news starts getting out that the locker room is divided, and it's really hard to feel good as a fan. Like if the team doesn't get along, how can fans get along? How can fans support that and have hope that they're going to continue to compete for the rest of the season and hopefully get better next year, Well,
and I was trying to think of an analogy for it, because poor play on the field, we've had that before, and we've all made it through as fans. And you're frustrated, but you just think, okay, well, they're going to make this change or this change, and things will get better. And right now it's like, I'm not sure what the changes are, but I also feel like, we're part of this thing, and we all call it the CFL family, and it is the CFL family. But right now, we feel like we're the cousins that are bringing the inappropriate uncle to every meal, and we're just trying to defend every move he makes. And it's like, we still feel like we're part of the family, but it doesn't feel the same way as the regular Thanksgiving dinner, if you know what I mean. So I'm hoping that at some point something can turn around and we can start seeing less scandal and more, hey, they made this choice as a right decision. Going on that note, I did want to talk about the orange jerseys that they did for the warm-ups at the beginning before the Winnipeg game. Both Winnipeg and the Elks coming out in those orange warm-up jerseys, supporting Orange Shirt Day, and in Edmonton's case, they're auctioning them off to support Spirit North, which is an amazing charity to help Indigenous kids get sport in their lives, which I think is amazing. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was one of those things that's like, okay, those are the good things that we're used to, and so it kind of had that good moment. I've actually bid on a jersey myself, because I thought, that's nice. Something that's worthwhile.
And I think it's actually pretty cool that the entire league is doing different initiatives and things in the spirit of truth and reconciliation. The Bombers helmet, the logo. Awesome. That was amazing what the BC Lions did with the shirts and the logo that they were giving out against Saskatchewan last week. And to get kids involved in sport and getting them feeling a part of a family and this great game that football is, it can bring people together. One of my favorite things about football is that it doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter if you're 5'6", 120 pounds, or 6'5", 350 pounds. There's a position you can play. Come out to the football team. And I love what football can do, and I think the CFL as a whole is a great opportunity here to make a difference.
Absolutely, yeah, and I'm 100% on board, and I'm hoping that no one will outbid me for that jersey because that's one jersey.
Are you going to reveal which one?
Yeah, well, it says my name right on there. If you go through the thing, so you can see it. But no, I'm going after the Tanner Green because I don't have a 27 jersey,
Nice.
And I thought that. Maybe not as many people would want to bid on that one, but I will. So yeah, because I think it'd just be kind of cool to have the and I really like the look of it with the EE on the shoulders and the Elks in the front. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I guess we find out next Friday. So which might be the most exciting thing about my Friday because we're going to talk about the game coming later. Yeah. Anyway.
I'm on the radio in Red Deer. I will make sure to tell all of Tanner Green's friends in Lacombe that we need his jersey bid up.
Great. Thanks. Yeah, it's for a good cause.
$1,000.
I'll have to be
fired.
Not that I'd be upset if they got that money, but I would not get that jersey then. I'd be getting a different one, that's for sure. Although I'd sit back and watch as you get it going up, and I'd just be sitting back like, wow, I feel like I had a part in this somehow. Yeah, that's what I feel. Let's talk about the game that happened after they wore those lovely warm-up jerseys. Not a lot of good on the Elks side to pull out. Tons of good if you're a Bomber fan, and I know that that's no good for you either, being a Saskatchewan fan. So,
yeah,
exactly.
Whatever.
Do you? Was there anything on the Elks side that you would say was a good thing?
Well, I got the script from you, and I feel like I should copy.
Well, you can pick one of those, or pick whatever you like. Yeah.
I will say that I did actually say it on my show too, that I have been impressed with James Wilder Jr. as a whole this season. Not only is his performance while he has the ball, but he's a guy that had a pretty bad name coming into the season and probably not warranted.
Right.
And a lot of people considered him probably to be a pretty poor teammate. He's in it for himself, but he looks to me like he's one of those guys on the field that is fighting every play and is trying to create a fire under the rest of the team. And, well, let's face it, Winnipeg's defense is just on another level.
Yeah, absolutely.
Than any other team in the CFL. So if he's at 4 yards a carry, I mean, yeah, you'll take it as, what it is, but I think his compete level was still there for an offense that really didn't do anything, literally
at all
in the game. But the fact that he's still there, showing compete and fight and wanting to get better for the team and himself, I think it's a testament to him for sure.
Yeah, I think there was that image a little bit that he had did he want to be there or not? And right now it very much feels like he wants to be there and wants to be performing, and behind what we thought was going to be an amazing O-line, we thought he'd be able to produce, because Toronto had that difficulty when he was there with not really having the greatest of O-lines. And he can produce it. And I think, there are games where he's getting, 6-7 yards a carry. We just need him to feed the ball more. Right. So I can't really argue with you too much on that one. This one was a little tough. 11 carries for 43 yards, so not the greatest one.
But I mean, the game early on in the game, passes were, on first down either dropped or just falling incomplete. And when you get into second and long against Winnipeg, it's not not going to happen.
As I recall, I believe we gave up 3 safeties. Was that what it was? Yeah, exactly. There's a reason for that. I did find a couple of goods in here. The Hoover interception with the massive return was very exciting. That was cool to see. And I think the D-line goal line stand right at the beginning was,
no doubt.
I think the defense as a whole is quite good. They're just on the field so much that there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and I think if the defense would be able to force more turnovers, they'd be even better.
Right.
But they've been struggling taking the ball away, and sometimes that is just luck. It's kind of the way it goes. But the best defenses in the CFL, no, that's my ball. They take it away. And I will say, I think it was a better game from Terry Williams in the return game. They ended up getting penalties bringing back the returns, but it was, I think, a better showing from them than the week before anyway.
Well, now you're setting an incredibly low bar. So
maybe.
I mean, how many years?
Well, and
how many years?
And I know there were the penalties, so it didn't count in the end, but
right.
It looked like there was something there, you know.
Well, I you know what?
Can you tell I'm struggling?
For many years, I have said, it looks like there's something there. And then...
That's true.
So you get kind of to the point of, whatever. I'll believe it when I see it.
I remember Martise Jackson was going to be the guy.
Right. Yeah, exactly. He was going to be. Martise Jackson. How many other guys can we name off that were supposed to be the guy, right? And it just... But
it's clear that these guys... They performed well in the systems they were in, right? So the blocking just isn't there for some reason, but the fact that it continues that way for what seems since Gizmo retired. I mean,
well, Winston October. I'll give Winston October.
Yeah, there we go.
And who's the other guy there? Tristan Jackson, I guess, for 1 year had that little bit of, he was a threat, right? But beyond that, it's been... You know, Kendall had one decent year, but then the next year it was not there anymore. So, I don't want to get too carried away, but it was kind of like, well, we'll see it we'll believe it when we see it, when it happens more often. I think that's kind of where we're at. I wanted to ask you, being that, you know, it's your podcast and all, do you know, did the Elks set the record for 2-and-outs in this game? Because I think that, I mean... It has to have been. I don't know how, like, they'd get the ball within their 10 and 2-and-out. Like, I don't know how many times. Like, it's horrid.
I'm trying to look for the stat
okay.
on that. But when just about every drive is a 2-and-out, it's got to be up there. And the Elks are on track to maybe be the official team of the 2-and-out podcast this year.
They really should. They should be. Everyone
didn't expect.
No, everyone thought it was going to be Ottawa, especially Brazilian tie, and now it looks like it's not going to be that. So, it's crazy. The scary part of this game, actually, for me, Winnipeg left about 12 points on the board. So early in the day, I had said to my buddy, I'm like, the way that this is kind of going, I'm predicting like 42-8. And if they got the other 12 points, I would have been half right. So, I mean, it was not a great game to sit down and watch. That is for sure. I only watch it in bits and pieces because on Friday I decided it was more important to go on a date with my wife, and it was wonderful. And if you haven't seen it already, the new James Bond movie is amazing.
It is. Thank you. I've only been to one movie in the past year and a half, and I think Bond will be the one to get me to the theater again. The last one I saw, and I'm ashamed to admit it, is Fast 9. Okay. And the reason I saw it is because we went camping in Jasper, and it was 42 degrees. So I would have seen any movie.
Just put me in some kind of air conditioning. Yeah, you know what? I wholeheartedly feel your pain. I mean, it's I don't even have anything to catch the sweat anymore. It just all drips off. It's like horrible.
You got to grow your eyebrows out.
Yeah, I don't know. This is as far as I was kind of allowed to go. I think that's probably where we're headed with that. But yeah, no, you know what? I get that. That's a good reason. We hadn't been to a movie in forever, and it was just, we finally got, you know, the chance where my mom could watch the kids, and okay, we're going to go on a date. What are we going to do? And Nicole's like, okay, if we go to the VIP theater, and we sit in the back row. There'll be no one behind us. There's lots of extra space, and they'll block the chairs off beside us. I think I can feel safe if we do that. I'm like, okay. So that's what we did. And let me tell you,
I've never been in the VIP.
if you have any issue with falling asleep in a comfy chair, maybe don't. But otherwise, it's the way to watch a movie. They bring you the popcorn to you. You have your legs up. You're all cozy. And the seats the seats actually had heaters in them. I'm like, I'm not turning that on, because if I do that, there's no way I'm making it through a 2.5 hour movie.
No doubt.
It was very good, and a great movie as well. So I recommend that.
I need some of this Turf District YouTube money, man.
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm paying you the same as I get to be on the show this evening. Just so you know, that's how that works. Let's go to a couple of YouTube questions here before we get too terribly far. All right, Ken Ludwig saying, this is giving me flashbacks to the Eric Tillman era. Yeah, it's probably fairly close. Tim Capper asking, Andrew, thoughts on if the last-minute head coach change just made the Elks issues show up sooner? So the change from Milanovic to Elizondo, do you think that played a role? My first thought on that is that it plays a small role in the fact that Elizondo came here to a team already built for him, and he wasn't able to build his own coaching staff. And the coach's cap is going to wreak some havoc with that. You don't have the same abilities to just get guys. So I think not that he wouldn't have picked some of the guys that are already with him, but I think not being able to pick your own staff does play a role. And they kind of had a short term to kind of get on the same page as their own team above actually coaching the team. So I think that would play a little bit of a role. But what do you think, Travis?
Well, if you look at the rest of the West, Saskatchewan kept their coach, Winnipeg kept their coach, Calgary kept their coach, and I know BC did a switch with Rick Campbell there, but he had more time. Mm-hmm. It was right after the 2019 season, if I remember correctly, in December that change happened. So those guys, they probably spent all of 2020, even though there was no football, talking with their staff, getting them all set up. So they probably came into the season probably more familiar with each other than the Edmonton staff did.
Yeah, absolutely. And time to kind of work together and figure out how do we want to coach them, right? So where Elizondo had basically a couple of months before it was getting ready for training camp. So that's, then it got extended, I guess. So I'm going to give him 4 months before training camp started. So just makes it, might have made it a little bit harder for sure. And that's a great point, Tim. Ken Ludwig, I'm not sure the Bombers would agree. They're actually a little concerned about how things went. Now, I don't know how as a Bomber fan, although I was talking with Neely, our friend Neely today, and he was saying, I don't know, after that first half, I thought maybe they could turn things around. And I'm like, well, have you watched any of our second halves this year? And have you watched any of the Bombers' second halves this year? That was the part that I wasn't worried.
Especially the fourth quarter. They've only given up 6 points all season long in the fourth quarter. It's been incredible to watch. Yeah. I thought that they left more points on the field than the 12 that you referenced. They missed 3 field goals. They missed an extra point. Dembski dropped a sure touchdown pass. It felt to me like Winnipeg did not play up to their level that they had been up to that point. And I don't know if they had off-field issues this week too with their leading receiver getting an impaired driving charge as well. So that affected them. They had Darvin Adams only had 1 catch on 8 targets. True. Kelvin McKnight comes in. So they were off sync as well. There's no hiding that.
So off sync, and they won by 27. So,
I know. That's what. It's really hard to talk about that. It sounds weird.
Wait a second. But they won by 27 against the only team to have lost to Ottawa twice. Okay, that seems about right. Yeah. Okay, so
they
could be
the horror.
Brazilian tie right now is like extra headache all of a sudden, like more headache than you would have after the weekend. Let's so Ken also says, I am concerned with an Elks defense that tends to over pursue and have some rather sloppy tackling. I think we're not the only ones that are worried about sloppy tackling. I mean, the games today were very exciting, but there were definitely a lot of moments where there's lots of guys who are not wrapping the same way as we would like to have them, I think.
It seems to be happening all over the league, and sometimes it makes good for exciting football when there are mistakes on defense. So
isn't it points puts people in the stands? Isn't that how that works? Yeah. So what are the stands going to be like a Commonwealth? Well, we'll get to that after. Okay. Tim Capper found it interesting that they brought Martin Bedard out of retirement. Now, the reason that they did is because Chad Rempel goes to the 6-game list. So we need a long snapper of some kind. So that's why he did come in. So we'll have to see how that really goes. And Ken, just like you said only 12 points? Like, probably more than that. Yeah, probably more. Yeah. Tim also says that he has no update on Vernon Adams as of yet, but he assumes it's a broken collarbone, which would be horrible for a guy that was really having a decent season. And although, I mean, Schultz comes in and does the job, but boy, we're all thinking of Vernon and hoping that he's okay. So big star in this league, and we don't like to lose stars in the league, that's for sure.
Yeah, he put a lot of pressure on himself, I think, to perform this year. And early on in the season, it was inconsistent. But last week, hurting the ankle and coming back, I think he showed a lot of leadership, and his team wanted to really play for him and support him through that. And then it just looked like a kind of an innocent tackle.
Yeah, it did. But just wait, if you land the wrong way, not good, right? So.
I've revisited the 91 Grey Cup this year because the 30th anniversary of the Argos and everything. And I'm just going to say, if Matt Dunnigan can play with a broken collarbone, come on, VA.
700 yards. Come on. Yeah. Also, if you don't know, you can also bet Regal. Like, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, you might as well just go full Matt Dunnigan on this. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Did you see him carving up that turkey today? Jeez, that even made me hungry. That was amazing. Yeah.
He gave Rod Smith half the turkey.
No. So Rod Smith is in a super coma right now because he's had a lot of soup. Yeah. Holy jeepers. That was ridiculous. One other news note we should talk about before we move on to setting up this week's game. Oh my. Harris is not going to be starting on Friday. Coach Elizondo says today that he needs a little more and a little. Well done. He's starting in your podcast. I can see that right there. He's ready to go.
Yeah, I got. This is my episode of Hoarders with Superfan Mike.
I can't wait to tell him. That's exciting. I have one of those right there in my little yeah. That's where he's starting, is on my shelf. And the shelf for the team, as it seems, is Taylor Cornelius will get the start, and they will back up with Dakota Prukop. Lots of things flying around. Of course, the Harris is not injured from what we know. And but this is also, I think we're at the stage where we kind of got to see what we got.
Well, I think Calgary winning 2 games against Saskatchewan puts them right back into the playoff hunt. They'll be fighting with BC, and Edmonton maybe just kind of looking at this as training camp. And Cornelius and Prukop are athletic guys. Cornelius' start at Commonwealth a few weeks ago. Was that against Calgary?
No, his first
the Labor Day rematch.
The first one was against Winnipeg, and it was reasonable. Like he kept it close for the 3 quarters.
Had 1 day of practice.
Yeah, exactly.
And Prukop had didn't he have a big 40-yard run?
He did. He did. He had a
So
massive run.
These guys are athletic guys.
Yeah. And when you start to look at it, it's things like, okay, well, let's see what happens when we hand this guy the reins and see if it changes it all. One thing that they both can do rather well is move the pocket. So I'll be curious to see that as we get to the game this week. So double checks just to see if I saw there was a couple other things that were coming across here. Weiss's lug 08. I'm not sure. Why slug? Oh, wait. Okay. I feel like the sloppy tackling comes from being fatigued, which might happen when the offense struggles a lot, which is very true. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's set up this week's game, shall we? Yay. I didn't. I mean, we still come back to do this, so we're still gonna talk about it. Elks.
Hey, we're talking football.
Correct. Yes.
We're not saving lives here.
That's very true. It's very true. Elks are back at home. Opposing team, of course, has the advantage when they come to Commonwealth these days. They are taking on the Bombers once again. The Bombers' defense will likely be hunting for a shutout, I would think, at this point, just because they're just playing on another level.
They are.
What do you think the keys of the game are for the Elks to have a chance in this one?
Just keep it to, first or second and 5 or second and 6 instead of second and 10 or second and 12. It seems like such a small thing, but just to support the young quarterback a little bit, and I think they should give the ball to Wilder more. In the past this season, teams have been able to run on Winnipeg a little bit, and Toronto did it. They rushed over 100 yards.
Yeah, absolutely.
On Winnipeg. So maybe there are some holes, and Winnipeg, they had a few injuries coming out of last week. Jamarcus Hardrick, the right tackle, left the game. They might affect them a little bit, but yeah, second and medium or short, that has to be a focus instead of throwing it for 20 yards on first down, because it's not going to happen against this team. And I would say that probably about every offense.
That's fair. I will throw in what Superfan would say, which is wishbone. 2 running backs, just push it down just constant all night. Just do that, and then we'll see how it goes. But you know what? I maybe the Bombers just take pity on us. Maybe they just think, wow, this poor team. No, they won't do that.
I think there's going to be a time this season where Winnipeg's kicking game is going to cost them.
Yeah, it won't be this week.
I don't know if it'll happen this week.
No, but it'll be when they're playing a team that's. I don't know what the rest of Winnipeg's schedule is, but if they're playing a team like Calgary, or they're playing a team, like Toronto right now, really the way they're playing, right. The missed kick could be a problem. Absolutely. I mean, I hope it's this Friday. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Go defense, go.
Hey, and Edmonton needs to stop starting field position on their 5 or 10.
God, I wish they could do that. I wish they could do that. Yeah. Just if their starting position could even be like the 35, that would be a step in the right direction. Absolutely. I 100% agree, but I've stopped saying that that's a key to the game, because when you repeat it for 4 years and it doesn't happen, okay, all right.
And stop this guy.
Look at you in the bobblehead collection. Wow.
Yeah, I have more at work.
Or is it just that you collect
John Bowman?
You just collect bobbleheads that say Harris on them, or is it just
my Harris bobblehead? I need an RJ Harris
now. And then just make a little sign up above the hair eye. Yeah, it'd be great.
I like this. I
look forward to
it's a new Grey Cup troop.
I can't.
The traveling Harris.
I can't be part of it. You're talking about hair eye. I can't be part of it anymore. Oh well, I'll find something. It'll be great. Let's talk about some pick'ems. We've got some interesting games this week. At least, well, two of the three are very interesting games. First one.
You watch Edmonton win. You watch. I'm here all night. Try the deal.
I was gonna say, I don't know. I couldn't even make that giggle. Like, I tried to stifle it. You could see it on the YouTube. I did try. It was not. I couldn't stifle it. So, Montreal against Ottawa in the first one, the rematch of the game today, which was actually a good game. Like, I was.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed watching that. Loved the kind of game out for Payne. What's the first? I can't remember.
Cameron Artis.
There we
Payne.
go. Yeah, he had quite the game. Almost won the CFPN fantasy for Joe against me this week, but not so much.
Wow.
But pre-match back in Ottawa. Again, we're seeing Caleb Evans take steps every game and kind of get towards things. How do you see this game going in the Capital?
Well, I'm looking forward to seeing more Matthew Schultz.
Yeah.
He's only gotten in for a few pass attempts this year, but he makes things happen. He got in against Hamilton when Montreal beat Hamilton in overtime. Mm-hmm. And I think it was like a 64-yard pass to Quan Bray. And then this week he goes 3 for 3 on that final drive, and he scrambles for 19 yards, and they get the winning touchdown. So I think Matthew Schultz might be one of the forgotten backup quarterbacks in the CFL, and I think he might have a pretty good performance Saturday in Ottawa. And there was moments in this game where those teams didn't seem to get along. Kind of a big, one of those, fast plays where Vernon Adams gets hit by Abdul Kana, and then it was getting pretty testy. And I don't think they're going to like each other anymore in 5 days.
No. Actually, you know what I really liked about that, though, is that was a rivalry that I was hoping would kind of start, as Ottawa and Montreal. They're so close to one another, much like Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, Hamilton. I thought this is a good recipe for a good rivalry, and they've never really had it yet, but today it really felt like that rivalry was there. So
and I know Tim will agree. It's just good to see Thanksgiving football back.
Oh, yes.
There were a few years where there were no games on Thanksgiving Monday, and I think it needs to be owned by the CFL like Labor Day. Make it a tradition, and if it's got to be in Montreal every year, do it. I like it.
Oh, I loved the way it was today, where it was all East teams. Like, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
But you could have had Montreal, Ottawa, and then a Saskatchewan Calgary game after or whatever, and that would have been great. But great rivalry games and both very close games, so I'll take it. Now, who do you got winning though when they're playing in Ottawa?
Ottawa took that lead late in the fourth quarter. I still think I'm going to go with Montreal.
Okay. Because Ottawa is not playing the Elks, I'm going to say it's Montreal. But I think it'll be a really close one again. Like, I think that, like, Ottawa is going to have to learn how to finish games against really good teams, and this is a good team. But you never know, right? Schultz comes out, and is he going to have the same, thunder carrying an entire game? But I really think if you just put them face to face, that receiving core in Montreal is something else, and they should be scoring points like crazy. So I'm going to just give them the edge there and say Montreal takes that one.
And I think both teams discovered that they have running backs that probably need to be on the roster every week. Lance Turner for Ottawa, I thought had a nice game. He had over 7 yards of carry, and Cameron Artis Payne. I mean, if him and Standback are in the backfield on Saturday, that might be tough to stop.
Absolutely, yeah. Look out. Next game is Calgary versus BC. This one in BC. This is going to be quite the game because BC's coming off the bye. Calgary's coming off of the 2 wins over Saskatchewan, knowing that they have to play Saskatchewan again the week after. What do you think in this one?
I struggle writing off the Stampeders.
Yeah.
And the couple wins in a row, it seems like Bo is kind of catching his stride again. Maybe the BC defense doesn't have the same weakness as Saskatchewan's up the middle, but that's where Calgary lived that entire game. And Kadeem Carey had his best game, I think, in the Canadian Football League.
Right.
If they keep that going, and now Calgary's got continuity on the offensive line, I think they go into Vancouver and get the win. But that's going to be another close one, I think.
Yeah.
Because both teams, they're in the hunt for that West semifinal.
Oh, I know. Yeah. And it's going to be, it'll be an exciting game. I agree with you, though. I think Calgary takes it. I think with the lack of, or the loss of Lucky Whitehead is a huge deal to the BC offense. And you're right. I think the BC defense has different strengths, which could play very well against Calgary. But I don't see BC's pass rush the same way as Saskatchewan's. And you kind of you got to be able to then drop back and make sure Bo isn't getting it in there. And like you said, Bo's starting to hit his stride, which is what we're kind of more used to. So I'm going to give Calgary this one in a squeaker. And I'd like to say that I'm hoping over the bye week that BC learned how to run the ball and maybe we get a little more balance there and that would make it exciting. But I think Calgary just pulls it out, unfortunately. It's so sad.
And running against Calgary's, their interior defensive line worked Saskatchewan on Saturday.
Yeah.
And those interior guys on BC, they're going to have their work cut out for them.
I think that there may be some benefit though for the screens, the swing passes.
Yeah.
Get guys like Shaq Cooper that are shifty and speedy out of the backfield, and let them bring all their horses. Oh, that was a horrible pun. They'll bring them all in and then go around them, right? I think that'll help. So should be rather interesting. Now we usually place an Elks prop bet of some kind to see how the game goes because we don't bet against the Elks, although we say they're going to lose. We don't bet against them. So do you have a something that you think we should bet on, and then I will set a line, and then we'll see where we go over or under.
Whew. Holy man. Okay. I'm just pulling up a game from a few weeks ago. I think we should go with Cornelius passing yards.
Ooh, Cornelius passing yards against the Bombers. Oh my. Okay.
So this is his second game against them.
That's right.
Yeah.
He did play the last bit of the last game too, but
right. So in the first game, Taylor Cornelius went 19 of 33 for 243 yards with 3 interceptions.
Okay, but we're going passing yards. That's what you want to go with?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I am going to set the line against this Bomber team right now. My goodness, because they seem to get better every week, that defense. Let's go with 229.5 yards. And would you say that he is going to go over or under on that?
I'm taking the over.
Are you? Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, then. I'm taking the under, but...
yeah. Happily.
Yeah. That's fine. I'll take the under. It's great. I think that I'm actually... The reason I'm taking the under, though, is not because I don't think he could do it. I really think it's because... Like you said earlier, I think they've got to lean on the running game a little bit this game. And as much as they may, I just don't want them to abandon it early. Like use the running game, try and push to get those, second and mediums, like you said. Even if it's second and 6, like if you only have a 4-yard average, I'm okay with that. But you got to be pushing the rock a little bit. And that's why I think that his passing will be a little less. Instead of 33 attempts, we might see in kind of the low 20s for attempts, and that's where he might end up in that 220-ish range is where I'm thinking. So we shall see.
Yeah, I know it's tough, and there's been a lot of talk in Saskatchewan that those 14, 15-yard drives are pretty tough to pull off. Yeah. But I think Edmonton just needs to grind it out against Winnipeg and tiring out the defense honestly seems like an impossible task against the Bombers.
So true.
They've added more run defense enforcements with Steven Richardson has come in since the Edmonton game.
Of course.
So it'll be tough, but get the offensive line hitting Winnipeg a little bit, and I think they'll appreciate that too.
Yeah, they just might. It might make it rather interesting. Let's see if we have anything here that we can answer here. Tim Capper, of course, says yes. The Thanksgiving tradition continues. Got to have that. I guess the part that we didn't mention about this coming Friday, probably the most exciting part of setting up the game.
Handsome.
Correct. See, I knew how you knew exactly where I was headed. That's perfect. Bop, baby. That's the.
Now, let's face it. Their voices have changed since 1997.
Sure.
So
is mine.
Do they have a more adult version? Look, I'm fascinated. Is there a more adult remix bluesy version of Mbop now?
Actually, there is, and I have heard it. They have done.
It's
good? It's actually kind of, It is a little. Actually, I would recommend searching it up because it's actually not bad. I was kind of impressed. But it's a little more bop, bop, bop. And it's not your there's a lot of low tones in that particular voice now.
Listen to the sultry tones of Andrew tonight. I did not think I would hear you singing Mbop.
Well, nobody did. And no one would have tuned in otherwise. Just doing my best Dave Campbell here. That's right. That's right. You just got to watch the play. That's right. Okay.
You're good.
Not bad, eh?
I
know. I listen to him a lot. That's what happens. Ken Ludwig saying, still trying to figure out why there wasn't a roughing the passer on that Vernon Adams hit. I think because he's out of the pocket, so I don't think you can call it roughing the passer. It should have been possibly unnecessary roughness, but I don't know. I think that's probably.
We've seen similar plays like that where the quarterback goes to slide and at the same time the defender goes for the hit, and that's what happened with Zach Collaros in Saskatchewan and Simone Lawrence. It almost looked like almost the exact same play to me.
Yeah, fair.
But Canna ended up it wasn't head on like Simone's hit ended up being. It could have been worse, but let's just say we've seen less get called.
Fair, yeah. And I know that, Tim said that we both know the CFL will make up the call with a fine. Yeah, sure. Yeah, probably. I guess we will find out about that. Now, the funny thing is before I set the line, YSlug08 put the line at 224.5. I put really? So I was 5 yards off your lines, and everyone's taking the over. So, but Ken does say third time is a charm for the Elks. Well, sure, we can hope for that.
It is tough to beat a team 3 times.
Okay, have you seen the team that they're playing though?
Yes, I have on Labor Day and the Banjo Bowl. Don't remind me. Man, I was at that West final when Cody Fajardo hit the crossbar. So I'm familiar with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers.
I kind of figured. I more meant that I meant the team that the Bombers are playing against. There's a good chance you could beat that team 3 times. But lots of other teams, you got to play the games. That's right. Got to play and see how it goes. Let's talk about our fantasy rosters just really quickly. I know it's super early in the week. And I know that this past weekend was rather interesting with the double games. I know I squeaked out a win, like I said, over Joe by 2 points. I know Superfan won his match. I know you won your match because you were... Oh, were you playing Coop this week? Oh, no way. Really?
I had the second highest score in the league playing the highest score in the league.
Oh, man. Yeah, well, Coop had quite a week. He had quite the week. I was very impressed. You had like 127 points or something. I thought, wow, look at Kura just ripping up the charts.
Yeah, I went with a couple Argos, a couple on the Argos defense, and Caleb Evans. So all of those players played 2 games. And I went with Rashid Bailey of Winnipeg and Braden Linnaeus of Saskatchewan. Yeah. And they both had near touchdown catches. And if that would have happened, I might have won the game. But Coop ended up having Chandler Worthy, who had a big game on Thanksgiving. And finished me off.
He did. And I know I went with Rashid Bailey too. And the only part that I was kicking myself about is that I didn't pick up that Stanback was out. Otherwise, I would have started that running back. So instead, I took Morrow with Saskatchewan just because I needed a cheap running back to put in there, right? So I could fill a roster. So
yeah, because I went with Timothy Flanders, who had he had like 13 and 14 carries in the past couple of weeks. He had a bad game against Toronto and then didn't play on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
So
I had that with...
That was another tough one.
I had Kenny Stafford and then it'll only... Like, had a decent first game and then didn't play today. And I'm like, come on. But anyway.
So last week we had 5 games and this week we only had 3. Right. So it's going to be... That's a different challenge in itself.
Absolutely, yeah. Because it's hard to pick enough guys with the price amounts to find. You really gotta search for those gems. Those 2,500 guys are going to be tough this week. That is for sure. So, but it always makes it fun. So that's we got to try something, right? So,
as long as you're not a cheater and you pick a defense.
Attaboy. I like that.
Although the Bomber defense might be about $6,000.
Yeah, well,
so
still might be worth it. Still might be worth it. You're right. You never know. This episode is also brought to you by Pod Power. With Pod Power, our sponsors are making it possible for us to amplify the voices of Albertans and Alberta podcasters. This episode, Edmonton Community Foundation is helping us give a Pod Power shout out to Book Women. And I know you've talked about this one on your show. Book Women is a podcast about editing, publishing, and writing Indigenous stories. 3 Métis librarians representing nations from across the homeland aim to inspire Indigenous peoples to share their stories in whatever form that they enjoy. Guests include Indigenous storytellers from diverse mediums like podcasting, burlesque, books, comics, social media, films, music, and everything in between. And you can listen to find out more at bookwomenpodcast.ca. That's bookwomenpodcast.ca. Thanks for coming on, Travis. I appreciate it.
Hey. Thanks for having me. It's always a joy to talk to you.
This is like a double crossover. We're doing an APN crossover. We're doing a CFPN crossover. It's amazing. And for last minute, and I know usually around this time you're on the radio, so I'm glad we picked a holiday Monday that you could jump on and chat with us.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait to see your new turf district in person. I tell you that much.
Well, yeah, you will be on the invite list when we are allowed to have people over for sure. And
proof of vax or what?
Oh yeah, you got that right. Yeah, both of us are medical workers. That's right. Where's your proof? You don't get in otherwise. Yeah, none of this negative test crap. You got to have your proof.
I'd show you, but I'm on my phone right now.
It's important to have that. While we wrap up here, tell everyone where they can find your show, where they can find you on Twitter, and all the things to interact with you and your amazing giggle.
We need a, well, I guess this is sort of audio social media, but the 2 and Out CFL podcast comes out every Monday and Thursday during the season, and then after the season it'll be bi-weekly kind of thing, and we did that all pandemic long, so
I know
you can try to get rid of the CFL but you're not going to get rid of us. So follow us at 2 and Out CFL and myself on Twitter at Travis_Currah, Currah.
Awesome. And of course, as always, follow all the co-hosts on here. You can find Commissioner Kayla at Duchess Lombardi. You can find Superfan Mike at 56 Parkies. And of course, the history at EDMHISTOREE. I'm trying to do Mike a little bit of service there to make sure that he knows that we're looking out for him, and he delivers that much better than I do, but at least I try. Make sure you're following the Pay It Forward with Football people because they're amazing, and we continue to spread kindness as we should, and make sure that is the message that's getting out to all the people you love in your life and are giving thanks for this past weekend. Lots of great shows, of course, coming out from the CFPN, like the 2 and Out podcast. But check out all of those shows at cfpodnetwork.ca. And of course, you check out all the great shows on the Alberta Podcast Network at albertapodcastnetwork.com. I change it up every time just because it's fun.
We need a jazz song.
I know, right? Bop. That's right. You know what? It's almost like we'll all be sitting in front of our TVs with our different hats on, and like just grooving out to Hanson. It's gonna be amazing. Yeah. Of course, join the huddle with us at the Turf District. That's on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. We will be back next week to talk about the likely 2-7 Elks, but whatever. There's always a chance. There's always a chance. I think that might be the title of the podcast. There's a chance. Travis says there's a chance. Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. So for Travis, Commissioner Kayla, Superfan Mike, I'm Andrew. Remember, you can't catch footballs with your face, and we will absolutely talk to you next week.